All right, welcome to SEC Tournament Preview here with Chris Muller. Ole Miss versus Vanderbilt, gonna take the mound today. I guess at about 1:30 ish. How you doing, Chris?
Doing great, Steven. Obviously, a great day. When you're still alive in the SEC tournament, every day is a great day.
Absolutely. Um, Tell me a little bit about what we can expect in the game today. Just a 30,000
I,
foot
I,
view.
yeah, I think we're going to see Tyler Myers. Well, I know we're going to see Tyler Myers on the mound for the Rebels. And Jack Leiter, a formidable foe, is going to pitch for Vanderbilt. So it should be an interesting game from that perspective. Tyler Myers comes in the game, not really pitched a whole lot for the Rebels. He's pitched 26.1 innings. So he's pitched a little bit, but not too much. He's got 29 strikeouts on the year. ERA is a little elevated at 6.15. His longest outing is 3 innings, so I wouldn't expect him to go much longer than that, if that. So it's really going to be a bullpen game for us. So expect to see a lot of arms out of the bullpen. Probably some that we haven't seen all week yet. So it'll be kind of interesting to see how Mike manages the bullpen today.
Yeah. Looking at Vandy and Jack Leiter, what are his strengths? What can we look forward to seeing from him?
Yeah, he's a three pitch guy. He's got a really, really solid fastball. Goes 92 to 96, touches 99. So he's, that fastball really hums really quick. So it's going to get on our batters really fast. He also has a good curveball and a good slider. From a stats perspective, Leiter goes at ERA of 2.12. He has 8 wins, 2 losses, 76 innings pitched, only 34 walks, and he's got a gaudy number of strikeouts at 127. And his batting average against is really an eye popping for me, 128. So he really, really dominates when he gets on the hill.
Yeah, that seems to be really bringing it. What do you think the key is to getting to Jack Leiter? I mean, what are the teams that have had success against him? What have they done?
Yeah, I really tried to go a little deep into the numbers this morning. The two teams that have gotten to him and in the 2 losses that he's taken have been against State and against Florida. And so I went back and kind of went through the play-by-play on those. Those two teams really got to Leiter early, and they've really used the home run ball to benefit their outings. Both of them hit home runs in the first inning. State got a home run and 2 runs in their first inning, and then they added 2 more in the fifth on Leiter. And then Florida, 2 more home runs in the third. So really the key for the Rebels is going to be to see if we can get one of those pitches that are a little bit higher up, and we can really bang the ball out of the yard.
Yeah, it sounds. Even though he throws the ball so hard, like we really don't fear velocity as a team. So it's basically fastball hunting and hope that he's off a little bit with that curveball that's so wicked.
Yeah, I think with a guy like Leiter, it's almost like you have to guess fastball and hope you're right.
Hmm. Yeah. Now I know. I think Carter Young, isn't he out this for this tournament for Vanderbilt? When he a scratch?
I have not seen that, but it's very possible.
Okay. Well, tell me a little bit about the Vandy lineup and what we can look forward to. I know we saw him like 3 weeks ago, but what's a little refresher?
Yeah, we saw him a couple weeks ago as well as we saw him on Wednesday night. So they, very long ballish team. So they've got 3 guys that have double-digit home runs. Dominique Keegan is second in the league with a .372 batting average. So they really can stroke the ball. The top of their lineup really scares me, and that's what got to us on Wednesday night in relief in the ninth inning. So anytime we can avoid that top of the lineup, we're really going to do ourselves a lot of good. I talked a little bit about it in the previous show when we talked about Vandy the last time, but I went a little bit deeper. Enrique Bradfield Jr. just continues to impress me, and he impressed me again the other night. But his 42 stolen bases, again, we talked about Georgia and their number of stolen bases yesterday and how they didn't even compare to Bradfield's numbers. But 42 stolen bases is by far the most stolen bases in the league. And by far, I mean, it's double the next guy. In fact, the 42 stolen bases that he has is better than the second and third place guys combined. So he's a speed demon. If the ball gets down, as we saw on Wednesday night, he's going to take a base on us. So we've got to either A, keep him off the bases, or B, keep the ball up in Hayden's glove.
Yes, and I have a theory. Just bear with me, kind of going off script here for a second. I have a theory about this. Everything is so analytically driven. All these pitchers throw with velocity, and everything they're doing the shifts and everything that you see. That players like Doug Nikhazy being a throwback pitcher and Enrique Bradfield, basically a throwback to Ricky Henderson, are twice as dangerous as they would have been 5 or even 10 years ago because they're so rare now.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I think these old school players really just, they really impress me because it's just kind of a different look. You talked about Doug. You look at somebody like a Jacob Gonzalez, who's kind of a throwback player. Looking at the stats on him today when I was combing through the SEC stuff, he's leading the league in hits, I think, which is just an incredible stat for a freshman. I don't even know how that got past me, but it was incredible. I think he also leads in runs scored. So he leads the league in a couple categories, which is really cool for me to see. I'd be remiss if I didn't take the opportunity I should have done it yesterday on this podcast, but I'd be remiss if I didn't take the opportunity to congratulate the women's golf team from Ole Miss. Mm-hmm. I know you've probably done that on some of your other podcasts, but I want to take the opportunity myself to congratulate them on their national championship. I think it's our first undisputed national championship, maybe ever. Mm-hmm. So congratulations to those ladies. Job well done, and way to represent Rebel Nation.
Yeah, anytime you can win a national championship in one of the 15, it is a big deal. We're not talking about club sports. It's one of the 15, and it should always be celebrated as our first undisputed national championship and, of course, our first female national championship in our school's history.
Yeah, really happy for those ladies, and obviously the great publicity that they've brought to the university, to the city, to the state, and just really happy for those young women.
Yeah, and it was really cool to see the scenes yesterday when they got back to Oxford and got into the double-decker bus and went around town to City Hall. It was really nice to see those scenes and that people are actually respecting the accomplishment for what it is and not trying to do some weird deal where just because it's non-revenue, it shouldn't count.
Yeah, I mean, there's only 2 sports, well, probably Ole Miss 3, that make any revenue with, we'll add baseball into ours. But, everything else is a non-revenue generating sport. But those athletes put the same amount of time, same amount of energy in as our revenue generating athletes do. So to be able to celebrate those and for the town of Oxford to come out and support those women is just really great to see.
Yeah, and changing the subject to get back to the baseball game real quick. This game is a dress rehearsal for going into the loser's bracket for a regional. That's the way people need to look at this. And going up against Vandy's pitching and Vandy's lineup, it's at a higher level that they're likely to see. Do you agree with that?
I do, and this is game 4 in 4 days, so we're really getting to the back end of our pitching staff. If we keep going in this tournament, I have no idea who we're pitching tomorrow. I would imagine that Mike doesn't either. We'll see what happens, but right now it's kind of take it one game at a time and see what we can do in today's game and worry about tomorrow when it comes.
Yeah, my assumption, and it's purely an assumption, is Wes Burton's probably going to get the ball if this moves on further.
It wouldn't surprise me if anybody got the ball, really, to be very honest. It's all hands on deck after today. I mean, it's all hands on deck today, but truly an all hands on deck situation moving forward tomorrow. And the interesting thing is that, State got bounced 0-2. And not only did they get bounced, but they got trounced 0-2.
Twice.
Yeah, and so I don't know how that affects the committee's mindset on State, and does it drop them a little bit? Does it not drop them a little bit? But we only finished 2 games behind State in the regular SEC standings, and so where does that put us if we're able to continue on and pile on a few more wins throughout the tournament? How does the NCAA selection committee view that versus the resume that State has? So it'll be really interesting to see how we rank out at the end of the weekend as far as the selection committee goes, and if we get somewhat into play for a super regional host.
Yeah, the one thing that I think Ole Miss fans need to remember is I think above us in the pecking order for geography reasons and just because they're a good team is Stanford. So if State got bumped, it would likely going to be another West Coast super regional for Stanford. But it's worth a shot. I mean, we've made it this far. If we can win tonight, it turns into single elimination the rest of the weekend.
Absolutely, and I think that tomorrow would be really tough, obviously, because Arkansas has only had 2 games in 2 days. 2 days gets a rest tomorrow, but like I said, let's worry about today, and we'll talk about tomorrow when it comes.
Yeah. We're at the point of the tournament where it's just gravy. I mean, anything that happens is a bonus, and just view this as a dress rehearsal for next weekend, this is going to be a more severe version of next weekend because you're dealing with a 2 or a 3 seed coming in you come through the losers bracket, you get to that last game, let's say something got third, you're dealing with a Louisiana Tech, you're dealing with an LSU, you're dealing with a Florida State. It's not necessarily the same thing as dealing with Vanderbilt or dealing with Arkansas.
Yeah, any team that's left currently in the SEC tournament, absolutely, positively, 100% has a chance to make a run at Omaha. So, when you consider the competition level that we're dealing with, it's really great to see us perform at a really high level. And even though we lost Wednesday night, that game was nip and tuck. And Vanderbilt should thank their lucky stars that they won that game.
Yeah, and Ole Miss has done well this season. I mean, the records and everything, dealing with Vanderbilt and Arkansas. Their struggle came against Florida, against LSU, against Texas A&M. There were some weird struggles there at the end whenever injuries started to pile up on them. But against the top teams where they can get up for it, they've actually performed quite well this year.
They have, and the 2 series, you pointed them out, the 2 series that really befuddle, I think, a lot of us and most Rebel fans are that LSU series and that Texas A&M series. And that LSU series, even though we lost it, I'm going to look back on it and I'm going to look at it as a turning point because we really could have gone through the motions on Sunday. I think we were down 8-1, and it seemed I've gone back and watched that 8th inning before, and Richard Cross was already starting to look ahead to other games around the SEC and talk about what the future held for Ole Miss and stuff like that. And to see us come back and actually win that game, I personally think it was a turning point in the season for us.
Yeah, that grand slam from T.J. McCants against LSU was probably the hit of the season.
No doubt. And, I mean, I just think that there's a never give up attitude in that dugout, and it's, it permeates through each inning, each game. I think all the 7 runs in that game were scored with 2 outs. Or excuse me, that inning in that 8th inning with LSU were scored with 2 outs. So it's a never give up attitude that we seem to have, and it's with the amount of injuries that we've had this year, we've almost had to have that mindset, or we wouldn't be where we are.
Yeah, and with Elko coming back into form, we haven't even talked to him about him today. Him coming back into form at just the right time, that makes that lineup that much dangerous. And with Elko batting in front of Chatagnier, all of a sudden Chatagner's coming alive.
Yeah, Tim is. I mean, I can't believe Tim and what he's been able to do over the last 3-4 weeks ever since he came back. It's just incredible. The emotional boost that I think it's providing the dugout is absolutely huge. And then in the lineup, even he's drawing intentional walks from people, which is important for us. He's 4 home runs since his return. So his contribution has just been an emotional lift in the dugout that, we see our captain out there and he can do really good things. But it's a production standpoint at this point. And he has the absolute ability to clear things up in the lineup for us.
Yeah, and one more thing before we get out of here, and might be something you haven't even noticed, but all season this year has been different batting stances for John Rice Plumlee. Yesterday, his batting stance mirrored Jacob Gonzalez, and he laced a double down the line. Do you think he's onto something?
I did not notice that, but
Yeah.
I'm sure he and Clem work daily on different stances and different approaches to hitting the ball. John Rice Plumlee is just an absolute joy to watch. Another energy guy, and we talk about energy guys on the show a lot, but golly, it seems like every single one of our guys brings something to the dugout, to the lineup, and John Rice Plumlee absolutely brings the energy every day.
All right. Ole Miss versus Vanderbilt, 1:30-ish Central today, 2:30-ish Eastern. Here with Chris Muller previewing the game. Just want to say goodbye and hotty toddy.
How do you, Todd?